Welcome everyone. In this presentation, I will be talking to you about creating an inclusive physical activity environment. Let's begin. Creating an inclusive environment is very important in making it possible for those with unique functions to be able to participate. An inclusive environment is accomplished by identifying and addressing the individual needs of all learners and removing any barriers that may be in the way. The three unique functions I will be going over today are muscular dystrophy, Down syndrome, and developmental coordination disorder. I'll be going over the key characteristics of muscular dystrophy, providing some safety considerations and medical concerns, some recommendations and strategies, as well as examples and resources. Muscular dystrophy is a neuromuscular disorder, and it has a wide range of causes, symptoms, age of onset, severity, and progression. The key factor of muscular dystrophy is that muscles gradually get weaker over time. What causes muscular dystrophy is a genetic mutation. Certain genes are involved in making proteins that protect muscle fibers from damage. For individuals with muscular dystrophy, these genes are defective and they can no longer protect muscle fibers. Some of the symptoms of muscular dystrophy include poor balance, frequent falls, muscle weakness, difficulty walking and running, and many more. There are several different types of muscular dystrophy, including Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Some safety considerations and medical concerns that should be taken into account in a physical activity environment are having things to hold on to prevent falling. Also, it is important that these individuals do not reach a point of exhaustion. Individuals with muscular dystrophy should never lift weights, do push-ups, as well as crunches. Activities done in a physical education classroom should not contradict the instructions from their doctor or physical therapist. And some recommendations and practical strategies for coaches, teachers, and fitness leaders are, as mentioned before, have structures that they can hold on to if need be. The activities should focus on recreation rather than competition and gaining strength and building endurance. Also, stretches have shown to help individuals with muscular dystrophy. Activities should avoid stairs, as well as the activities should not have a long duration. It is important that you have a conversation with individuals, parents, and other individuals that may be able to help you create an appropriate fitness plan. Boccia is a great sport for individuals with muscular dystrophy. It is an easily accessible sport and allows individuals to compete. Some resources that have lots of information on muscular dystrophy and creating an inclusive environment are Education Matters, as well as the Teacher Guide for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. The second unique function I'll be talking about is Down syndrome. Again, I'll be going over the key characteristics of Down syndrome, some safety considerations, medical concerns, as well as some recommendations and strategies, examples, and lastly, resources. So Down syndrome affects cognitive ability, and there are some physical characteristics that go along with Down syndrome. It is a quite frequent unique function that occurs approximately 1 in every 700 newborns in the US. It has a wide range of symptoms, and there are 3 different types. So the cause of Down syndrome is a naturally occurring chromosomal arrangement and is not considered a disease, disorder, defect, or a medical condition due to the fact that it requires no treatment, prevention, or cure. Some physical characteristics of Down syndrome include a small nose, almond-shaped eyes, a smaller body frame, and low muscle tone, and a few others. The cognitive characteristics of Down syndrome affect the person's mental ability, including the ability to think, reason, to understand, and be social. It often can slow down mental development and motor development. It is very important that individuals with Down syndrome do not do any activities that put pressure on the neck region. Many individuals with Down syndrome have instability in their neck, which could lead to possible spinal injuries. Also, many individuals with Down syndrome have instability in the hip and the knees, which could lead to dislocations. Some recommendations and strategies for individuals with Down syndrome include using visual aids as a strategy to learn movements and exercises. Also, structure learning and teaching opportunities to enable the student to engage in tasks with other students who can act as appropriate role models. Also, allowing time for these individuals to process the new information. It is important to speak directly to the students using clear language and short sentences. Individuals with Down syndrome work really well with routines, so it is important to establish routines in your physical activity environment and stick to them. And lastly, use equipment that accommodates the unique characteristics of each individual. Here's an example of 31-year-old John Stoklosa of Newark, Delaware. He won a gold medal at the Special Olympics World Games in 1999, and now he competes twice a year in powerlifting competitions in Pennsylvania and New York.
Our next lifter will attempt 430 pounds. Give it up for Jonathan Stoklosa.
Go, Big John! Go, Big John! Big pull, John. Come on, John. Got it.
Some resources that you can use to learn more about Down syndrome and creating an inclusive environment for those with Down syndrome are the educator package that was created by the Canadian Down Syndrome Society, as well as the website for Down Syndrome Resource Foundation. The last unique function that I'll be sharing with you guys is developmental coordination disorder, also known as DCD. Again, I'll be going over the key characteristics, some safety considerations and medical concerns, recommendations and strategies that can be useful, as well as some examples of DCD and some resources to further education. Some key characteristics of DCD is that it is a motor skill disorder. Oftentimes, individuals with DCD have a delay in the development of motor skills. Often they have they are unable to complete typical everyday tasks such as tying shoes or buttoning up a shirt. Individuals with DCD do not have any identifiable medical or neurological conditions. So in order to be diagnosed for DCD, they have to meet 4 criteria. The 4 criteria are that learning and execution of coordination motor skills is below expected level for age, given opportunity for skill learning. The second is motor skill difficulties significantly interfere with activities of daily living and impact academic, productivity, leisure, and play. Third, onset is in the early development period. And the last criteria is motor skill difficulties are not better explained by intellectual delay, visual impairment, or other neurological conditions that affect movement. Safety considerations and medical concerns with individuals with DCD. Difficulty with coordination is because a problem may occur at a number of different stages as they process information. It is important to create an environment that allows individuals with DCD extra time to process information. Also, individuals with DCD would have a difficult time in fast-paced activities and could potentially get hurt if they are not able to process information quickly enough. So, some recommendations and strategies for creating a more inclusive environment for those who have DCD is using group instruction. This way, they can be included in the group and have a sense of belonging, motivation, and a positive perception of PE. Also, cues for learning. Cues help shifting the attentional focus from an internal to an external perspective, enhancing comprehension. Goal setting and routines are also very useful. Children tend to generate more effective strategies for motor skill learning. Also, a product-based approach focuses on the mechanics of motion instead of the outcome of the movement. Here are 2 examples. One is an individual who doesn't have DCD and the other who does have DCD.
This is a typically developing 10-year-old boy. There are several key features to observe in his movement patterns. First of all, he demonstrates the expected ability to stabilize his body or trunk while simultaneously isolating hand and arm movements. This 9-year-old child has developmental coordination disorder, or DCD. Although he appears small, he is just 9 months younger than the first subject.
Some resources that can be used to learn more about DCD are encouraging participants in physical activities for children with developmental disorder, as well as Fit to be Tried. So in conclusion, each of these different unique functions have their own characteristics, safety and medical concerns, and recommendations and strategies on how to make them successful in physical activity. When creating an inclusive environment, it is important to consider these different unique functions. Also, by gaining knowledge on these different functions, it can help fitness leaders, teachers, and coaches create the most inclusive environment possible. Thanks for watching.